So AudioSuite plugins are essentially all the ones that are just regular plugins that come with Pro Tools or that third parties make are also AudioSuite plugins. And what AudioSuite plugins do is you apply them actually in real time to audio clips, and this is really what sets Pro Tools apart from other DAWs. Not really any other DAWs have the ability, like Pro Tools does, to do these AudioSuite plugins. So, for example, if I go in here and I say, here let's get this kick drum. Let me turn off get rid of the filter here. Okay, there we go. So let's say that I wanted to flip, hold on a second, also let me stop it from no scrolling. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got this loop right here. And let's say I wanted to just kind of grab one of these and apply, let's say I want to apply like an EQ just to this part right here. What I can do is I can highlight this as a clip, and this is what we have to do. We have to highlight it as a clip, and then go up here under AudioSuite, and all my options come in. And as you can see, it's pretty much everything that I had before. So I can go in here, I can say, oh, okay, let's go in here and go to trash, like a kind of a distortion plugin. And in here, this window, it looks like a normal plugin window. The only thing that really tells us that it's an AudioSuite plugin is down at the bottom of the screen. Here I've got this, I've got a little preview button, so I can preview it. Right? Let's say, okay, I like this one here. So what I can do is I click over here, it says render, and it will render it. And now you can see this one clip has had this effect applied to it. So if I go over here and I play from here, right, that one clip had that effect applied to it. Nothing else has been affected. If I go over here and I wanted to apply a different effect, I can go in here and say, all right, let's apply something to this one here. Let's apply OTT from Xfer, and click that there. And we can, mess around different things in here. Whoops, oh, we're gonna crash things. Oh, okay. Crash. So basically just crashed it using that one. I've never actually used the OTT plugin inside of Pro Tools. So SW says, it was a long time ago I learned about AudioSuite. I remember if you render the AudioSuite, you can't undo it. That's not entirely true. I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. You can actually get in and undo stuff. Let's go here. I'm just going to go to my file backups here, and 11 o'clock. There we go. I'll load this one up. Boom. All right. So one thing about this is when you render it as an AudioSuite plugin, there's a couple things. If I like, let's say I've got this one here that says Kick 0237, right? Well, if I render this as AudioSuite, if I'm worried about losing it, what I can do is I can just double click it to rename it. Okay, so Nico has another good question. Wouldn't it be better to bring here? We're going to talk about all these different things. So first of all, if I wanted to make sure I save this clip, I can just rename this clip. I can just say, audio 237, whatever, edit. doesn't really matter what I name it, but I just give it a name right here so I can see what it is. And now I can apply an AudioSuite plugin to that sound. We'll just use Channel Strip here. Channel Strip comes with Pro Tools. And down here, I'm going to hit the preview button and go through some of these plugins here. Try some of the presets and just try it out. There we go. Let's use that one there. Hit render, and now I render it, and now you can see that what it did in my name here was it actually named it. It made a new file with the name Channel Strip, CHST, but I still have my original plugin here. I still have my original edit here. So that's one way you can do it to make sure you don't overwrite your original setting. The other thing you can do is utilize the playlist, which we talked about the other day. So for example, if I've got my original, here, let me just drag this back so we've got our original here. This is our setting. And if I want to make sure that I don't mess with this one at all, I can keep it so it's not overwriting it. What I can do is I can go over here to my kick EA. Let me just turn my drums back on here, and I'm just going to set duplicate here so it does a .01. So now I have a separate playlist here, so I can apply any kind of effects to these sounds that I want. So I go in here, I've got this, and let's see my snare drum here. Let's say I just want to apply an effect to this one snare drum right here. Go like that, cut that out, and let's just apply an effect to this one here. So I can just go in here and I can say AudioSuite, let's get a distortion type of thing. Let's use, before Black Book was talking about Decapitator. So Decapitator is a great plugin from Sound Toys, and we'll go through here. Let's use that one right there. I'll render that. So now we can see, and turn it up way loud. I'm going to turn it down a little bit here. Boom. So, right, so we can hear how that one snare drum has changed. Well, if I decide that I don't like that, I got a couple of things I can do. One, I can just drag my clip back like that using the trim tool, or two, I could just go back to my original track here and it got rid of it. So it's nothing that we're doing here is destructive. It's all non-destructive, and the way it works is it made a new audio file down here with that AudioSuite plugin effect applied. It didn't overwrite my original audio file, it's just on this new one. And then Nico says, wouldn't it be better to bring that clip to a new track and apply the plugin that way? And you're right, for the most part it would be. There's a couple things where you need to use AudioSuite, but for the most part I would do it on its own track. And the reason why, there's a couple of reasons why. One, when you're using AudioSuite, you can only use one plugin at a time, one effect at a time. So if I want to use a group of effects, like if I want to apply a gate, and then I want to apply an EQ, and then I want to apply whatever else, I can only do that one at a time when I'm using my AudioSuite plugins. But if we look at the notes over here, there's a couple plugins here that are really useful for AudioSuite stuff: Reverse, Gain, Signal Generator, and Normalize. And Normalize you only use it on drum samples if you're actually sampling stuff like that. Reverse, Gain, Signal Generator, these are good. Let me just show you each one of these real quick. Reverse, and then I'll come back and answer your question. SW, and then Zach says, can you apply a plugin to one playlist without affecting the other? Kind of like what you just did, Decapitator, but on the whole track. Yeah, you absolutely could. So if I go over here, like this, I've got my playlist. I can just highlight all of these, apply AudioSuite. Let's use that Decapitator as another example. Boom. Just use that mid one there, mid driver. Hit apply, hit render, and it will render everything While it's doing that, I'm just going to turn off this here. Hold on. Oh, I did it pretty quick. Hold on 1 second. All right, I forgot to turn off the AC before. Sorry about that, y'all. That hum it would drive you nuts. So we can see here, I've got the whole track now has that effect applied to it. Right. But realistically, like you can do that, but I don't really recommend operating like that. And if I go back and I hit, if I change my, if I change it here, but not hold on, not kick. Kick was fine. The snare drum is what I applied it to. Turn this one off here. So now I've got my original snare, and if I want to hear the AudioSuite, you've got it there. But realistically, I never use it like that because I don't really use AudioSuite. Yeah, absolutely. SW says it. I'd honestly just put Decapitator on the insert, and that's exactly what I would do too. You don't really want to use AudioSuite except for a few things, and let me just show you what those things are. So if I'm over here, and here we go, we got this one here. If I wanted to go ahead and make like a reverse snare right here, for example, well, I can just grab the snare drum, cut it out, boom, 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 maybe move it over a little bit, and now let's reverse this. To reverse something, I do need an AudioSuite plugin to reverse it, so I just go down here to reverse under my other. And if I'm reversing a bunch of stuff, I'll just leave it up here in the corner, and I just hit render, and now it reverses it, and now I can just like slide it into place like that. So now, if we hit go over here, that's kind of a weird way to do it, but here we'll do it like this. I don't know, it's not really long enough. It's not a great, let's drag it over and see what that sounds like. Yeah. Oh, you know why it's doing that? It's because I've got, let's turn this gate off. There we go. There we go, cool. There we go. Cool. Yeah, so you can hear the reverses there. So yeah, to reverse the audio, you need to use AudioSuite. You got to use AudioSuite for reversing audio. It used to be that for adjusting the gain, you'd need to also use AudioSuite. So for example, in here, gain was an AudioSuite plugin, but nowadays I don't use the gain unless I have to just overall change the gain on something and I have to figure out what I'm doing with it. But for the most part these days, gain is in the clip gain right here. So clip gain is something they brought in with Pro Tools 10. So I just recommend using the clip gain. I don't really use gain anymore. If you wanted to, what's in the notes here? If you wanted to normalize stuff, you can use AudioSuite for that. But if you're making drum samples, then yes, you would do that. If you're making if you're making a sample library, then use normalize for your drum samples. But otherwise, do not use normalize. The clip gain, clip gain is really convenient. It's so good. I don't know if you use Ableton Live or what you use. SW, did you say you use Logic? I don't remember what you use. But anybody who's coming from the Logic world, there's no real clip gain thing in Logic. Ableton Live does have clip gain, but it's not on the track. It's down in the bottom corner, so it's not quite as useful as in Pro Tools. But I use clip gain a lot when I'm doing stuff in Ableton Live for like removing breaths and things like that from songs. But you only have to double click it once, and then after that you can just select each clip, because once you've selected the clip, it just selects the next clip, however you want to do it. But it's not quite as useful as Pro Tools, you're right. The clip gain in Pro Tools kind of, I like it better because I'm not constantly moving my mouse around. Now, one last thing about this is, let's say that I wanted to add, I've got this kick drum here, And let's say that I want to add more thump to this kick drum. Well, one way we can do this is by using an AudioSuite plugin to kind of add in some low frequency to that kick drum by using some plugin magic. So let's just go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to do this real quick. I'm going to make a new track, a new mono audio track, and the name will be 60 hertz, like that. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to highlight a section. Let's just highlight one bar here. And this one bar, I'm going to insert 60 hertz signal generator right here. Boom. And it's going to be a sine wave at 60 hertz. And minus 20 dB is fine, probably. Yeah. Okay, let's solo this out. Okay, so we got that there. Now, what I want to do with this is I want to make sure that I'm going to cut it right here so we make sure that we've got a solid loop in here. And what I can do is just go in here like this, zoom in on the end here, and grab that. So what I'm going to do is make sure that it's a nice solid loop, and I'm just going to take this, and now I'll use my loop tool. And this is a time when I would use the loop tool. This just to loop this over, and I'm just going to drag it across for as long as I want it to be. Oh, the clips list, yeah. Yeah, I'll show you some stuff about the clips list. We're going to talk about that. So check this out. So I got this hum here that I just made, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that kick drum to open up that hum. Come on. Whenever I need to, by using the expander gate. So I'm going to put an expander gate on here, like this, and we're going to turn the bypass off, and we're going to grab a key input. Now, there's a lot of things that you really don't understand yet, but we're going to be talking about these in the next couple of weeks. But I just want to show you this real quick here. I'm going to set this to bus 1, and then over here, the key input will be bus 1. Turn this on here, so now should be good there. Why are we not? Oh, I need to turn it up. There we go. And now it's going to open up that low end. There we go. Cool. And you can hear we have a little bit of a thump in there, and I can compress all this stuff together and make it sound, really fine-tune the sound there. But this is just another quick reason why I might use the AudioSuite for signal generating that little sound. Realistically, what I would do is I would actually do this in a different way. I'd use like a replacer or something for this. But if I need to add a little bit of beef to something, this is a trick that people have used, 50 hertz or 60 hertz down there in that frequency for the kick drums. All right, let's just go back to the notes, make sure we're good here. I just sidechained it with the expander gate. See this? Click on this to sidechain. Make sure I've got my bus here sending it out. Make sure I've got signal, so you can see here's the signal out. Remember we talked about routing yesterday? It's the same thing. I'm sending the signal from my kick drum here, going to here. I turned pre on so this doesn't affect anything. And we're going to talk about pre and post faders another day. We're going to come back and talk about it in more detail. But now I've got this here, and it's sending the signal on my kick drum over here. So now that hum is only it's opening up the gate when that kick drum hits. The bus 1 is receiving, it's receiving bus 1 here. I turn on my key over here, and now it's going to be receiving that. And I use these controls here to shape the sound of the hum. And that's what you can do there. But I'm going to go ahead and take that off for now. I'm going to delete all that stuff. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here and restart the recording. Just do that, stop the recording.